How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set 6, and today we are jumping in to the Suikoden 2 HD Remaster and going through the first few hours, giving you some tips so that you get the best start to the game. If you're looking for beginner tips for Suikoden 1 HD Remaster, then you can find that video on the channel, but like the video, subscribe for future content, and let's jump in to the Suikoden 2 HD Remaster Beginner Guide. Now the first tip comes quite early in the game. In the early stages of the game, you'll go through some story events in a military camp, and once you've got through all of these story events, you'll reach a point where you have to escape from some troops that are chasing you down by jumping into the river. But we don't want to do that right away, because what you can do here is, you can stay here, refuse to run away, and just keep on fighting some pretty low level soldiers. If you use Joey and the main character's Unite attack, you'll be able to kill them pretty easily. And you can grind yourself up to level 4, 5, 6, something like that, with no real difficulty. The only thing that you need to watch for is that you need to say that you're going to stay 3 times, and then the 4th time that you go to say it, the game will flip the answers round. So rather than it being 1 for yes, 2 for no, it will be 1 for no, 2 for yes. So just keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you select that you're going to stay and just farm these fights for as long as you want. Now you're going to want to play through the story for a bit now. You'll end up doing some errands at a mercenary fort for some people that you may or may not recognise, but eventually you will be tasked with heading to Kyaro, and there are a few things that we can do on this journey. The first thing that you can do, after you've passed through the town of Ryube and found your way to the North Sparrow Pass, you can farm an enemy called a Blade Bunny in this area for a double jab orb, and these orbs are pretty powerful. You'll want to pick up a fair few of them. I grabbed 4, you may want to grab a couple more, you may only want to grab 1 or 2, but they are definitely worth getting, as they make it so that the character that has it equipped attacks twice in combat rather than once. This is useful pretty much all the way through the game, so it's definitely an item that you want to farm a few of. The best way to do this, once you get into the North Sparrow Pass, on your left hand side you'll find an area that's got like a little pool in the centre of it. You can refresh your HP and MP at that pool. This is probably the best spot to do it. Just run around in this area, use your Unite attacks to take out all of the enemies in one go, and keep going until you've got all of the double jab orbs that you need. Another orb that you can farm from Blade Bunnies in one of 2 areas is the Technique Orb. You can do this on the world map before you head to the North Sparrow Pass, however I would recommend doing it afterwards in the Kyaro area, because it seems like the encounter rate of Blade Bunnies is higher in that area, therefore you'll have a better chance of getting the Technique Orb. When equipped, the Technique Orb gives a character a 40% chance to steal Potch from an enemy once per fight, and it's once per fight per enemy. And this can be very useful early on in the game, making sure that you've got plenty of Potch to buy all the things that you need. And trust me, we're going to be getting to some things that you need. Anyway, once you've done this, head into Kyaro and go through the story events there. One thing that you definitely need to do, when given the option to either save Nanami or hurry out of here, make sure that you save Nanami, because otherwise you won't see her for a while, so make sure that you save her. Now, other than this point, there are 2 things that we're looking to do in Kyaro at the moment. The first of these is to make sure that you head into the main character's house with Nanami, and take the medium vase. You'll see a box with some vases in the centre of the room at the back. Make sure that you select the medium vase because this is the one that has the most value when you go to sell it. The other thing that you can do in Kyaro involves rare finds. And this is something that we're going to get into very soon. We've got a couple more tips before it, but just go to the armour shop, check the rare finds section, and see if there's a pair of winged boots there. And if you've got the money, make sure to pick them up. Now if you don't find the wing boots in the rare find section of the shop, keep this in mind for in a minute because there is a nice little trick that you can do to refresh the rare finds in any shop. The only other thing left to do in Kyaro is to head behind the main character's house and you'll find a tree overlooking a cliff. Interact with the tree 3 times and you'll discover a little weird red squirrel called Muku Muku and they'll join your party. Once you've done all of that, we can leave. Once we've finished this section of the story, make sure that you've done everything in the Kyaro region before you head back to the North Sparrow Pass, because once you leave on the other side of the map, you will not be able to come back here for a little while. However, there are several other things that we now will be able to do. So, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to head into the mercenary fortress, head to the blacksmith, and upgrade all of your weapons to level 3. This is going to be useful because it's going to make you much more survivable out there on the world map. After that, you're going to want to head to the northwest and find a town called Toto, where we'll be able to do a few things. The first thing you'll be able to do is get any items that need to be appraised. So any of these question mark items that you may have found, make sure you bring them with you to Toto, and you can get them done all in one go. Next, you're going to want to head to the inn in Toto, where you'll find at the top of the screen a character called Zamza. Have a chat with Zamza and make sure that you recruit them now. Next, we're going to head back to Ryub, and you're going to find someone in blue lay on the floor outside the inn. Ask them what's wrong with them, and you'll find out that they've got a bad stomach and that they're starving. Agree to help them out. Once you get inside the inn, you'll be told that you have to pay their bill. It's only 3,000 poch. You should be perfectly fine at this point if you've been following this guide. Pay the money, and we will recruit Rikamaru to the team. Next, you're going to want to head to the northeastern corner of Ryub, and you'll find a girl there wearing a white hat. Chat to them, and you'll find out that their name is Millie, and you just end up going on a quest to help them recover their pet. Follow the path out of the town, and you'll come to a fork in the road. The first thing that you want to do is head to the left, and you'll find a bird that's fallen out of its nest, put it back in the tree, and we'll come back to this later. But you can follow this path a little further, you'll find a couple of chests, and then you'll find a house that's empty. We'll be back here later on in the game. But once you've done this, go back to the fork where you went left and found the bird, and this time head to the right. Eventually we'll stumble across this lost pet. We'll end up fighting the lost pet. It's pretty easy, nothing to worry about, and afterwards, Millie will join the team. After that, head over to the left again where we rescued the bird, and you should find someone there. If you don't, go and get into a few fights somewhere else and then come back, and eventually a character will appear there. Let them know that you were the one that put the bird back in the nest, and then when you get to the final options of this conversation, make sure you ask them to join, otherwise they won't. And that's all of the recruiting that we can do at this point in the game. One other thing to mention is that while we're running around in the forest dealing with birds that have fallen out of nests and pets that have gone crazy, you can come across a fight with some woodpeckers. They can drop the killer rune, which gives you an extra boost to your crit rate. But after that, we're going to progress through the story, and eventually you will reach the town of Muse. Now, first things, make sure that you've brought all of your orbs with you, because this is the first opportunity that you will get to equip them to characters. You'll definitely want to put double jab orbs on at least your frontline characters, and maybe even one or two of your backline characters, so make sure that you do that, and any other orbs that you've acquired. However, the main thing that we're going to talk about here in Muse is the rare finds trick. As we went over earlier on, whenever you go to a shop, you have buy, sell, and rare finds. And the rare finds section pulls one or two items from a table of items that that shop has access to and presents them to you to purchase. Once you've purchased a rare find from a shop, it will then take 30 minutes of in-game time in order for them to refresh their stock. But do we have the time to sit about for 30 minutes each time we want to buy something? Because sometimes there are multiple items that you want to buy from a rare finds table in a shop, and other times the item that you want won't appear. And the answer is no, we definitely don't want to do that. Now, it may be worthwhile Googling and looking up online a list of all of the rare finds for each shop. I'll try and find one and put a link to one in the description for you so that you can find it, but I'm just going to look at it from the Muse perspective right now and quickly go over what I did in order to get all of the items. The first thing that you want to do, as soon as you get into Muse, is go to the inn and save. This gives you a nice starting point where we can save scum a little bit, because the items that appear in a shop's rare finds list aren't decided until you interact with the shopkeeper. So at this point, none of the shops have decided which item they are going to be displaying for you. So save immediately and then head to the first shop. The first one that I did was went to the Remaster because I was desperate to equip some runes to people, so make sure you do that while you're there. But there are two runes that we can get from the Remaster that are both very useful. The first one is the easy one that pops up most of the time, and that is the water rune, and you'll want to buy that and give it to Nanami. The other item is the Fury rune, and what this does is it makes the person that has the Fury rune equipped constantly berserked, which could be very useful for some characters. The way I did it was I kept on reloading until I got the Fury rune, and then we're going to do something shortly that'll kill 30 minutes for us so that we can come back and then purchase the water rune, but for now, I've just grabbed the fury rune. After that, I went back to the inn and saved again, because I've still not been to the item shop or the blacksmith shop, so they're still undecided. So save again after you've got any rare find. From there, I headed to the item shop and rolled it until I got the sun badge, which is a very useful accessory that you can equip on a lot of your characters. So make sure that you pick that up, and then again, once you've got the sun badge, go back to the inn and save again. Now we've only got the blacksmiths to deal with, and what we want to do here is get the guard robe and the circlet. You can also grab some pointy hats from here, it's just how much time you've got. I would focus predominantly on the circlet, and then if you can be bothered afterwards, get the guard robe. But once you've grabbed the first item from each shop and saved afterwards, you want to head outside and just slightly to the south, and you can kill 30 minutes just trying to kill these sickle enemies in the area and get them to drop a gale rune, which is a very useful rune that boosts a character's speed. This took me a little bit longer than 30 minutes, it may be the same for you, and all of the things that I've suggested as far as drop rate goes can take a little bit of time, as we often see 2% drop rates. So be patient and you will eventually get the gale rune to drop, and by the time you've done that, you should have killed 30 minutes, so head back into Muse and pick up the other items that you haven't already picked. Remember, before you go and speak to the shopkeepers, save first and do them one shop at a time, and each time that you pick up the item that you want, go back and save so that you can continue the process. This is easily the most useful trick that's still left in the game, as a lot of the tricks in this game have been fixed. If you know about the Muse Matilda border, then you know how sad I am about that, because that was going to be another 5 minutes on top of this video, but no, not anymore. That's been fixed, which is quite upsetting. Anyway, continue on with the story. Eventually you'll reach the point where you get a tutorial for the duel system, which is essentially rock, paper, scissors, where you have attack, defend, and special as the options to pick. And yeah, attack beats defend, defend beats special, special beats attack. Done. You can tell what's what by the line that the character says, and these lines always mean the same thing. So if you want to save scum it, you can do and make sure that you get the victory. Otherwise, you can look up a list on the internet. I'll again try and remember to put a link in the description below. And these lists will just basically tell you, when a character says this, it means they are going to do this, so you should select this. That's it. Nice and simple. You also get a tutorial for the war battles, but there's not really much for me to go into with these, especially not with these first two battles, because they are tutorials. The only piece of advice that I'd give you is, if you know that a war battle is coming up, make sure that you save often. It's an RPG, just save all the time, just save. But the final actual tip that I have for you in this video, after you've gone through these two tutorials for the duel and the war battle, some events will take place, and you will end up outside of the mercenary camp with a randomly selected team. Now, this team is not necessarily always the best. So what you can do is, you can reload from a previous save and get a different team. I would recommend doing it until you've at the very least got Naname and Ramza along with you. That'd be my personal suggestion. And the best way to do this is after the first war battle, you will then have a second tutorial war battle. But you do get a moment in between the two where Victor will ask you if you're ready. You can ask him to give you a minute, run inside the mercenary fort, run downstairs and save. That way, you've not got to go through all of the tutorials in order to do this. But yeah, there we are. That is my beginner tips and guide to the early stages of Suikoden 2. Time allowing, I'm definitely going to get some more Suikoden 1 and 2 content out over the next week or two. I want to try and do a video that shows you how to recruit every single one of the stars in each game, so keep an eye out for that. But if you follow these tips that I've given you in this video, you will definitely have the best start to the Suikoden 2 HD Remaster. Anyway, let me know if there's any tips and tricks that you think I've missed. Let me know in the comments below if you've got the game and if you're enjoying it. Like the video, subscribe for future content, but more importantly than all of that, have a great day.